Wishing for a Christmas mortgage miracle? Patriot Trading Group wants to make your wish come true. Just enter to win on Family Values Radio website, and you can enjoy your mortgage paid for all of 2020. That's right, it's the Christmas Mortgage Miracle Contest, where if you win, you'll have all kinds of extra money the entire year for a vacation, new clothes, new giant screen TV with whole home audio, whatever else may be on your wish list, because the winner will receive their mortgage or rent payments covered for all of 2020. To enter, go to FamilyValuesRadio1010.com and click on the banner. Enter once each day to increase your chances to win and look for bonus entry opportunities. That's FamilyValuesRadio1010.com and enter the Christmas Mortgage Miracle Contest, sponsored by Patriot Trading Group. Contest ends December 20th. See our website for details.
Hey, good morning and welcome to Hump Day. I'm Joe Jaquin, CEO of the Patriot Trading Group, and how you doing? A great day here in the Valley of the Sun. This is the sweet spot of Arizona. You know, we put up with the 1,000-degree heat for days just like this. Gorgeous, gorgeous morning here in the Valley of the Sun. I hope it finds you well. I guess the big Arctic blast is coming for most of the country, you know, that global warming thing, or as like my uncle always says, you know, we used to call it weather, you know, that's what happens around this time of year. 800-951-0592, that is our toll-free number. You know what we do, right? Wealth insurance, you know, just in case, I don't know, debts really do matter, just in case, having interest rates down at 1.5% or mid-cycle adjustments or no inflation or anybody's debt promise obligation to pay. Hopefully none of you had Dean Foods in your portfolios. I mean, you know what I'm talking about. The physical delivery of gold and silver, the website where we got news, videos, you can buy online. A lot of people like to do that at allamericangold.com. And right now my computer has decided to run an update. Of course, you know, think about it. There's like 1 hour a day. Right? 1 hour a day where, hey, I need my computer. And that's when it decided, hey, I'm going to just automatically run an update and restart your laptop for you. So you never know what I'm going to say. You know, I was watching, I don't know if you've seen, and by the way, we're going to cover Jay Powell's talking today. The impeachment trial has started today. So, yeah, I am sure C-SPAN ratings are through the roof today as that has started. So if you didn't know, turn on C-SPAN. Remember Obama? Oh, yeah, we'll put it on C-SPAN. Don't worry. You can keep your doctor. So the Trump impeachment, I don't know if the trial hearing, whatever it is, that has started today. The president updated everybody on trade. I'm not going to tell you I told you. I'm not, but I told you. Gold's up a baker's dozen. Silver's up a quarter. The Dow is just kind of hanging out near the flat line. But, you know, and I'm sure Colorado, Arizona here, we run commercials, you know, in other parts of the country. Come to Arizona. Right, and we show golf courses and the Grand Canyon and swimming pools and food, right? Spring training, and we have all these things where you you know, you advertise like right now, right? Great time to be advertising like in Colorado, right? In Montana and Washington, you know, all over the place. And I'm sure, you know, Colorado, come to Colorado. You got the ski slopes and you got the Rocky Mountains and the hiking trails and all that kind of stuff. Apparently, California's working on a new Come to California campaign. And it's a little different than the normal types of campaigns. Instead of, you know, the beaches and all the great weather and all that stuff there in California, Disneyland, right? No, instead now they're running ads about, hey, you can watch people urinate in public, right? And that's no longer going to be prosecuted. Apparently in California now, anywhere you are, that's fair game to be a toilet. And then, hey, maybe if you're lucky enough, you may get hit with hot diarrhea, as opposed to room temperature diarrhea. No, hot diarrhea, where apparently now they heated it up and they throw it at you. I mean, it's a great new thing. Think about it, right? You can be like telling your friends, yeah, me and the wife, we took the kids, we went to California. And they're like, oh, what did you see? Did you see people urinating everywhere? Were you lucky enough to get hit with the diarrhea? I mean, it's incredible, right? Who is right? And I want to say that I'm making this up, but this is really what it's turned into. And I'm sitting there and I'm trying to piece this all together. Right? The whole country, everyone's lost their minds. Right? The president is a horrible racist and he's terrible and awful. Yet the economy's real good. Yet we got homeless people everywhere, sanctuary cities, and now everybody, wherever you are, that's the bathroom. And if you want to lob it at people, apparently that's okay too, right? We'll turn it into a good thing. It's amazing, and it's really hard to understand. I mean, I guess San Francisco, by the way, they've decided that is no longer a crime. They're not going to prosecute it. Don't bother calling. Hey, listen, don't clog us up here with somebody using your storefront as a bathroom, right? Hey, it's fine. Wherever they want to go, it's fine. And I guess what they're trying to say is, hey, don't come here, right? This is why everybody's leaving. It's so bad. California is so bad, and so many people are leaving. Idaho now, there's a big movement afoot in Idaho about wanting to get rid of them, that they're rooting. California residents are rooting Idaho, right? They're making everything cost more. They bought up all this property. Housing's unaffordable because of them. Traffic's worse. Everything's worse because these people are here. I think, you know what? Maybe that's what we need to do. Instead of the border wall at Mexico, maybe we just need to border California off and say, listen, that's it. You voted for this nonsense. You got to stay there and take it. We can always dream, can't we? Yes. Champagne wishes, caviar dreams, or, watching people use the bathroom. Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be back after the break. 800-951-0592 as the impeachment hearings are underway. Jay Powell is talking about the state of the economy. Yesterday, right, gold is going to the woodshed, right, getting beat down again. Now, let's put it in perspective. In May, gold was $1,270. So from May until October, essentially, gold went up about $300. So a pullback was due, right? Can't go a straight line, and they needed a catalyst to make this happen because there was really no reason to sell gold, right? I mean, the economy was slowing. I mean, we see GDP, 1.9% with that wonderful recreational vehicle category for the second quarter in a row. But no one's buying RVs. But, of course, I think I figured it out. I think they're putting those little private airplanes in there. But I don't even know that. I haven't been able, I keep saying I'm going to look into it. And I will. I promise I will. I just haven't done it yet. But they started talking about the big trade war finally is coming to an end, phase one. And you heard all of these people. It was everywhere last week. Notice I haven't heard a peep since. Of course, the president and his guys, they let it go because they liked the rising stock market. And, of course, I said, that's just reeks of Larry Kudlow. And then finally they said, hey, we're not there. Yesterday, the president was talking at I think it was at the New York Economics Club. I don't know how do you get into that club? I mean, my guess is it starts at billionaire, right? Maybe Kylie Jenner. She can probably go to it, but we're not invited. But they are talking about the tariffs. This is out of the Wall Street Journal. Tariffs emerging as the main stumbling block in efforts by the United States and China to come to a limited trade agreement. And you're like, wait, wasn't that always the case? The reason we put the tariffs on was because China wouldn't agree to stop stealing all our stuff, to stop forcing all of our companies to hand over their intellectual property, right? And, by the way, we want more balance in the trade. You got to buy more stuff. And then until you agree to that, we're not taking them off. I thought that would matter of fact, and the stance has been, until you agree to that, we're going to keep putting them on. Now, everybody got excited about this deal, and of course, I've been telling you the whole time, listen, China will buy more stuff. They will. But even that comes with limits, right? They were very, very clear that, yeah, we'll buy soybeans from you if we need them, and two, you're the cheapest, right? Hey, it's free trade, baby, right? We're going to buy what we need from whoever's the cheapest. So the president was talking about what was happening in the trade negotiations, and this is what turned gold around. So gold has gone from 1446 early yesterday to 1466, 67, depending on the minute. After the president started talking about what is going on with the trade negotiations, he said that a significant phase one trade deal with China, it could happen. It could. Sure it could. It could happen soon. Then again, it might not. But he added that he is prepared to increase pressure on China if the two sides can't reach an agreement. Now, the big issue is, right now, December 15th, all the stuff that you'll notice, really notice, those tariffs go into effect. He wanted to wait for you to get most of your Christmas shopping done before you notice it. Maybe this is how we'll get our inflation. If we don't get inflation after this, I think inflation's just a myth. We might as well just go to 25, 50% tariffs, right? I mean, if that's really what the central bank says, they just had another number out today. Oh, yeah, inflation. The core number, the number we don't care about you, what you pay. But our core number, that's fine. If we don't make a deal, this was the president, if we don't make a deal, we're going to substantially raise those tariffs. They're going to be raised very substantially. That was his comments. Get ready. We'll see what happens. I have no other insight. But, again, if you want to know what's really happening, Larry Kudlow's not your source. Right? If you want to know what's really happening, the president will tell you. And yesterday he made it pretty clear, yeah, it doesn't look like they're really anywhere. Right? I mean, we kind of been right here the whole time, right? Okay, we keep calling timeout, right? China's like, hey, let's call timeout, and all of a sudden we started talking real nice, right? And the Chinese are beautiful people, and we like them, and the president's a great guy over there. And then we usually end up in the exact same place, don't we? Which is, we almost have a deal, and then wait, nope, China said no, right? Because this is what China wants. China's like, hey, you remove the tariffs, and maybe we'll buy some stuff. I mean, that's kind of where China, I'm, reading through the tea leaves here. It kind of looks like China's like, you take off tariffs, we'll buy stuff. Notice how they haven't bought anything of significance since they made that one agricultural purchase. Remember, they bought some cargo loads of soybean, and they bought some hogs. But they haven't done it, and that was like 6 weeks ago. Haven't done anything since. So China's kind of saying, hey, you remove the tariffs first, and then we'll buy stuff. No progress even being talked about on intellectual property. The only thing we hear, and we only hear it from the U.S. side, is about the banks, right? Hey, the banks may be able to get away without a Chinese partner. That wasn't mentioned at all by the president, and that got gold turned around. And then this morning, gold was up, it was up $5, $6. But then it jumped again as Jay Powell, he was out today talking about the economy, and he was at the Joint Economic Committee where he was talking about the economy. Here's what he said. The gist of it is, okay, the mid-cycle adjustment. I love it, man. I love the mid-cycle adjustment is over, and that we're not going to lower rates again until we see more slowing. That's the official stance. Forget about rate hikes. There's no more hikes ever again, for the foreseeable future. But I want to point out something. This time last year, what was the central bank doing? They were raising rates. Right? They were shrinking their balance sheet. Matter of fact, they were telling us how great everything was. And I was out on the air telling you, I don't know what data they're looking at. I mean, it's slowing, right? And I would just tell you, right? I'd give you the numbers. Housing sales, slowing. Auto sales, slowing. RV sales, slowing. Heavy truck orders, the big semi-truck orders, they weren't slowing. They were collapsing. And I'm like, so we should probably be talking about what? Hey, don't be selling off the balance sheet. We need to lower rates. Instead, remember, we got they called it the December surprise, right? That last rate hike there in December, right? And the market flipped out and everybody went crazy. And of course, the Fed knew nothing and the president was on the warpath. Now, a year later, but now they have the answers, right? We've started adding back to the balance sheet. We're not raising rates. We're cutting rates. I mean, the exact opposite of what they said the economy was doing is what it's done. The exact opposite, right? I mean, you're not raising rates. You were raising rates a year ago. You're lowering them. You were selling off your balance sheet a year ago. Now you're adding to it, right? I mean, it's not like we were raising rates and we stopped. We were selling the balance sheet and we stopped. Okay. You guys say, okay. No. You've done the exact opposite, right? Because they're clueless. They really don't know until it happens. And one of the things is this is what really has started to perk up gold. Is because they kind of feel like, wait a minute. I don't know if we believe that the quote-unquote mid-cycle adjustment is over. We'll see. I mean, I know that Wall Street wants to say, hey, no, the economy's roaring back. I don't know. Haven't seen it yet. Let's hope that's the case. But if we're counting on the central bank to do anything, this is why you buy gold. Because the comments like this, how could they be that wrong? I mean, they weren't even close. Right? If you pull his same address from a year ago, you would sit there and, you would swear that, man, the Dow's got to be getting hammered, right? All normal things. All the normal things that you would venture to see, normal economic cycles. We've got the exact opposite. Right? Because why? Because they're just throwing this money everywhere. This is something that is on a scale that we haven't seen. But this is why all these crashes get worse. Right? The 89 crash wasn't great, but it, relatively, yeah. The .com crash, right? That was worse. right? Then we had, I guess, what do you want to call it, the banking crisis or the housing crisis, that whole financial issue, right? Even worse yet. Now, remember, all of these were caused by debt. And I listen, I know. I went to public school. I'm not that smart, right? I didn't go to Harvard. I didn't get an economics degree, right? I only own a business, and I'm a simple man. And I don't, economic theory and all of these things, I don't believe that you can control the economy by reading a textbook, okay? That's just me. How about you? You think you can? You think you can control the economy because you're real good at reading textbooks? And this is really what we have here. We have a bunch of academia, right? The whole central bank is flooded with them. And the big problem was debt, right? We had debt problem. What happened when the crash there in the late 80s? It was a debt issue, right? All of a sudden, right, companies, right, whoa, most of it emerged where? Japan, right? That was the end of Japan, right? As far as Japan as any form of an economic power ceased to exist. The dot-com bubble, right? That was all right. Hey, all this money being thrown at all of these companies, startups, and all these crazy valuations. Then we had the financial crisis where, right, what happened? Well, you know what? Consumers didn't have any money to pay the bills because they had inflated all of these prices. And so now we've kind of got an interesting thing, don't we? Consumers really can't afford houses. But they can buy everything but that. We can put you in an apartment. We've got these crazy high valuations. And we got the central bank saying, hey, I think our policy's accommodative enough. But is it? Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be back after the break.
This is the Phyllis Schlafly Report, a daily broadcast from Phyllis Schlafly Eagles, a national volunteer organization founded by Phyllis Schlafly and continuing to uphold her legacy by honoring family values, opposing radical feminism, and representing a conservative perspective in our nation's capital. Now, the president of Phyllis Schlafly Eagles, Ed Martin.
Joe Biden took liberal censorship a step too far by demanding that television networks refuse to allow Rudy Giuliani to speak in favor of Donald Trump anymore. Even the left-wing Daily Beast admits that rarely, if ever, has one campaign made an affirmative demand that a top aide to a rival candidate no longer be given a platform. Giuliani retweeted in response to Biden, "Think of the Biden arrogance and entitlement to protection. They believe they own the media, and they are demanding that they silence me." Giuliani continued, "They know I have incriminating facts, not hearsay, because they know what they did in selling Joe's office to a Ukrainian crook." President Trump released the transcript of his phone call with the president of Ukraine, and yet Joe Biden continues to hide behind the concealment of transcripts of his own conversations with Ukraine officials. There is great evidence to suggest Biden may have improperly intervened on behalf of his son Hunter on those calls. The Republican National Committee has called on Biden to release his call transcripts so the public can decide for itself how Biden misused his position of power for financial gain. Not surprisingly, there is no transparency by the left, while it demands answers from others. Nothing can be done to stop the insatiable desire of a lynch mob, which is what the House Democrats have become. Ironically, the biggest victim of their renewed witch hunt may be the only person thought to have a chance to defeat Trump next year. Joe Biden's political fortunes are not looking so hot thanks to the mud that splatters backward onto him. The fact that his campaign feels the need to censor Rudy Giuliani on television is a clear sign of desperation. They don't want Giuliani to embarrass Biden even more with revelations about Biden's misconduct in connection with Ukraine. Giuliani is making up for all his prior missteps in fending off the same sharks who previously circled Trump for prior non-issues. Censorship of political opponents is not something Trump would ever do, but his Democrat rivals think censorship is the only way that they can win.
This has been the Phyllis Schlafly Report from Phyllis Schlafly Eagles. Do you like what you see at the Trump White House? Will President Trump continue to advance conservative ideals? At phyllisschlafly.com, you gain complete access to Phyllis Schlafly Eagles news updates and commentaries and can track our work on Capitol Hill. Go online often to phyllisschlafly.com. And thanks for listening to the Phyllis Schlafly Report.
Welcome back, 800-951-0592. So the trade war takes a step back. And it hasn't taken a step back at all. It's been the same thing from the beginning. You go back 2 years ago, it was the same thing. China offered, hey, we'll buy more stuff, just don't put the tariffs on. Then we put some tariffs on. China offered, hey, take the tariffs off, then we'll buy more stuff. And we said no, right? And then we put on more tariffs. Right, and then we thought, oh, hey, we're almost at the deal. Remember, we're 90% to a deal. That was in April, and then, of course, China handed back the deal with all the red lines, right, like a fifth grade teacher. Just at least on my English essays, that's how they looked when I was in the fifth grade. Red lines everywhere, and we put on more tariffs, and China again. Right? Same thing. Hey, take tariffs off. We'll buy more stuff. I mean, that's really the only offer. And so right now, as it sits, we're about a month away from the next round of tariffs going into effect. So we'll see what happens. But that's kind of got everything kind of, reevaluation mode. Jay Powell trying to tell it, mid-cycle adjustment's over. I don't think so. Right? We got repo. That's the other. I didn't even talk about repo markets. I mean, a lot has changed in a year. And when you look at the change, are those changes good or bad? Right? Is lowering interest rates a good thing or a bad thing? Right? Usually you lower rates when what? Things are slowing or things got worse, right? I mean, simple, right? So we want to make money cheaper. Listen, they never want you to save again. What a trap, right? Think about it. They don't value your money, or what they call money anyway. They don't value it. There's no value in it. And we're at 1.5%, or 1.5 to 1.75. It's a joke. Banks don't pay you anything, right? You're forced to be risky. You're forced to buy Wall Street, right? I mean, do we want to buy Wall Street? And of course, these valuations, it's only 18 times forward earnings. Forget forward earnings. That's nonsense. We all know it's nonsense. Right? How much is it for actual earnings, right? Because the forward earnings are all poppycock and maple leaf, right? Dreaming that they're going to do this stuff, right? Versus actual earnings, we're at like 25 times. That's so expensive. It's not like you don't know what's going to happen. This isn't the first time we've gotten this high, not the second time. Heck, it's not even the third time. Right now, well, could it go higher? Sure. Could we get to 26, 27? Yeah. But it isn't a good place to be. But now, where else can you go? You can't hide in the bond market. You used to be able to do that. It's a little pricey right now. It's a little high. Let me call my guy. You know what? I'm just gonna go into the bond market, or I'm gonna take some money off the table. I'm gonna buy a CD. Right, and get my 7% and wait. Right, I don't know. Listen, none of us know. I can't tell you. Is the crash coming in 3 months, 6 months, a year? I don't know. You don't know. None of us know. We just know, hey, listen, we've seen this book before. But now they've taken away every place you can go hide. Well, except for one. That's why gold's back. Why is gold back? Right? Why is gold back? Right, gold's back because they told us they fixed it. Right, we're going to go to normal now. We're going to normalize. And normalizing lasted about a year and a half, and it's over. right? There's no normalizing this. The rest of Jay Powell's speech, by the way, had to do with debt and saying, hey, the higher the debt goes, the less effective we are. And that's true. That's true. Right? We're at 23 trillion. I don't know, 23 trillion, 40 million or 40 billion, right? Some crazy number like that. I mean, by the end of the year, I don't know, 23.2, 23.3, probably 23.3 trillion, if we're lucky. It's a pace. Now, remember, here's another thing that changed. The debts, as they were growing, you go back, Reagan and Bush and Clinton and even the younger Bush. Debts are okay, right? As long as they're less than 3% of GDP. Remember that? I know a lot of people forget that. I can't even tell you how many Federal Reserve Board members have said it. They say it like a broken record. They haven't said it since the last crash. Why? Because we're running 5%. That's just the federal deficits are running 5% of GDP. Shh, don't say anything. They've been running it. And there's no end in sight. Believe me when I tell you, you're going to be a lot happier taking some of that stuff that you normally would have went into the bond market, right? That's what you should have done. If this was the 80s or the 90s, I'm going to take a little out of stocks. I'm going to go heavier bonds. Or I'm just going to take some out of the market altogether, right? And I'm going to buy a bank CD. Right? That money needs to go to gold now, right? Because they were wrong. They didn't fix it. These tools that they created don't work. They don't work. All they know how to do is what? Print more money. Print. This is the largest printing of money we've ever seen, especially, right? If you want to believe the data, the unemployment rate, right? And, wages are rising, the whole thing, if you believe that. Which I'm not saying that it isn't true. I mean, I believe we got a lot of part-time jobs out there. There's lots of them. Then why is the economy only at 1.9%? With, recreational vehicles leading the way. Why is it that federal deficits are 5% plus and growing? And I'm not even talking about local and state. Why is it? Right? Why is there no inflation? Right? A lot of these guys, every textbook they ever read apparently was untrue. Right? We had, what they call it, the Phillips curve, right? All these things that they learned and promised us all about economics. Well, that's not true anymore, or is it? And I think it is true. Right? They just changed, right? They just changed the formulas. They didn't like the answer. They changed the formula. It'll work for a while, and then it blows it up again, and I think we're getting ready for that. How long do we have? Who knows? But I know one country that isn't waiting around. The latest out of China and electronic currencies is the new Fed coin on its way. I think it might be. We'll be back right after the break. 800-951-0592. I don't mean to laugh. I don't know. Stupid stuff comes into my head. I was just thinking about we took our kids to SeaWorld, and this was when they were younger, and going to SeaWorld wasn't such a horrible thing. And they have the whales, the killer whales, and they splash the crowd, and they got, you could get the parkas, that they were selling there, the overpriced ones. I'm wondering if California's going to, when you go to fly into San Francisco now, if there's somebody at the airport handing out parkas. But anyway, I digress. This is the real thing that's happening. I'm going to give you my 800 number. Be prepared. Because forget about all this other nonsense. And I don't care. Maybe you like Trump. Maybe you hate him. Maybe you think, hey, things are okay, right? I don't need to worry right now, right? I'll listen to Joe, but I don't have to do anything yet. And you don't, a lot of people, hey, I don't think I'm being that risky, buying stocks. Of course, most people now, do you see stocks at all-time record highs, yet searches for like Dow Jones and S&P, Google searches, way down. Right? Because not that many people can afford to be in. This is the choice. It's like, well, I can pay rent and my health insurance and my car payment and this and that, or I can buy some stocks, right? And most people, hey, well, forget the stocks. I got to pay my rent. Got to keep the lights on. The next big one. This is what you're getting ready for. And we're trying to see how all of this was going to play out. 23 trillion is nothing. Give it 10 years. Give it 10. It'll be 40 trillion. I mean, totally, it'd be ridiculous. But before then, we won't even get that far. But we won't. We may have maybe 5 years, maybe. That's assuming Trump gets reelected. Okay, doesn't get impeached, right? And actually gets reelected. Maybe get another 5. I don't even think you actually get 5 out of it. Probably only get 4. China's proposed digital domestic currency. They're calling it the Digital Currencies Electronic Payment System. China's senior central bank officials said on yesterday, they reported it, here we go. We didn't know when it was coming. Remember, I told you about it a few weeks ago. Who was it? Foxconn was involved in this. Yeah, the managing partner of the investment firm backed by Foxconn. So Foxconn, right, they make Apple stuff for us. He's saying that China is ready to roll out here in the next 2 to 3 months. DCEP, or Digital Currency Electronic Payment. China's central bank wants all of you to know it's not a game to bid full control on information belonging to the general public, according to Chinese central bank officials, adding that the goal was to balance privacy concerns and the authorities' need for information. China is preparing to be the first country to roll out a digitalized domestic currency, a development that is being closely watched by the world's financial services industries. And I'm going to tell you right now, let's just throw it in there. The world's central banks are watching. They're saying that the digital currency design seemingly provides Beijing with unprecedented oversights of money flows, giving Chinese authorities a degree of control over their economies that most central banks do not have. But this is what they want. This is the goal. This is where they're going. Right? The demand for control of all of your wealth. And I tell you all the time, right? They've got us encircled. Right? You got a bank, right? Which means you don't even own that money. All of your investments now are really at the control of the government. I know you don't want to believe me, but it's true. All of it at any time, for any reason, they can say you can't sell. You can't sell. You can't go to the sidelines. You can't go to cash. You can't have your money. And you know I'm right. I know. Well, that was double. It was Greece. Right? It was Cyprus. Right? It's not us. This is how. This is how they're going to do it. They're now going to have the ability to control the value of your money. See, Jay Powell says he can't get 2% inflation. It's just, gosh, if we could just do that, it'd be the key to everything. With a digital currency, they can do it. Of course, remember what inflation really is. That's not, that's a nice word to confuse you. It's just devaluation of your wealth. That's it. That's all it is. It's real simple. You better have your gold. Because and I know, listen, $23 trillion is unpayable. Right? We can't even get enough people to come to the auctions now. There's not even enough liquidity to buy all the debt that's being produced. Right? So now the Fed's back buying it all again. It'll last for a little while. But when that little while ends, right, then the big wipe out, and then they're going to use that as the reason to go to this digital currency. Here's the thing. China's going to be first. You know why? Because they don't care about what their citizenry thinks. Patriot Radio News Hour, final segment coming up. This just in, U.S. $10 liberties. I got 75 U.S. $10 liberties. I just got the email. They're $780. I'm going to save $15, $765. After the show, I'll also put that up online, so you can order it online as well. Listen, you know how it is here. Just call up, I want the special, and tell Arlene how many you want. That's it. We don't play games, no bait and switch. We don't try to talk you out of it and get you into some high-price stuff. U.S. $10 Liberty gold pieces down at $765 today at 800-951-0592. You got gold up double digits, and that's actually $5 less than it was on yesterday. So you got the big gold move, and it's still cheaper today. $765 for U.S. $10 liberties. Let me give you some detail. So they're saying in the next 2 to 3 months, China's going to launch this digital currency. China's saying, listen, it's all about money laundering. Boy, here you go. Right? You knew these weapons that they use. Remember, like all of our laws about cash now and $10,000. Oh, money laundering, and terrorism. Let me give you some quotes from the Chinese central bank. First it was the assistant head of the central bank was saying that it was almost ready. This was last month. Now the head of the Chinese central bank is saying that they're getting ready for rollout, and his name was Yi Yang. Yi Yang said that they're referencing anti-money laundering conditions. So when you think about what's happening in the marketplace today, and trade wars and interest rates and mid-cycle adjustments, all of that's a smokescreen. Here's what's real. Central banks are going to digitalize the currencies. I don't know what that means for like Bitcoin and all that stuff. Does that mean China's going to force them out? I mean, that would make sense to me that they want to control it all. Everything we do, everything we buy, everything that is going to be a matter of public record, the ability to control and strip away freedoms is enormous. And, of course, in order to do it, They need to create a crisis, and I think this is really what we're setting up for. I think in the next – and China's going to force their hand now, because think about what China could do with this. Right? Hey, we'll pay you in China coin. Right? Your government will never know that we've got you on the payroll, so to speak, right? And almost kind of force the rest of the world to what? Have to go to this system. And I think a debt crisis is coming. This is going to be the solution. And now they'll have total, complete control. And the only thing and the only protection you're going to have against that is something that is real and tangible, that you know where it is. And you know what I'm talking about. Gold's the answer here. U.S. $10 liberties, $765 at 800-951 0592. Patriot Radio News Hour. Eric's going to be in tomorrow. I'm sure he's probably glued to C-SPAN watching the impeachment trials going on. Can't wait for that. Everybody enjoy the rest of the day, and we'll be back tomorrow.